Have you ever found yourself stretched too thin? Do you sometimes feel overworked and underutilized? Do you feel motion sickness instead of momentum? Does your day sometimes get hijacked by someone else's agenda? Have you ever said yes simply to please and then resented it? If you answered yes to any of these, the way out is the way of the essentialist. The way of the essentialist involves doing less but better so you can make the highest possible contribution. I found these thought-provoking questions on Greg McKeown's website while I was preparing for this week's episode of Mind Your Business. In this episode, I'm going to share 3 lessons that I got from reading the book of the month for the Fabulous Woman community, which is called The Essentialist by Greg McKeown. And then, God willing, on Sunday, 29th September at 7 p.m. GMT, we'll have a community meeting where we will talk a bit more and I'll get to hear your lessons as well. Stay tuned for this episode of Mind Your Business.
Fab Hub Ashanti, a haven nestled at the tip of Kumasi, where fresh air meets serenity. Fab Hub Ashanti is a residential learning and event space perfect for your corporate training, staff retreat, group hangouts, and wedding receptions. With 4 rooms and 15 beds, you and your group can sleep comfortably. What makes us special? Fab Hub Ashanti is not just a space, it's a commitment. By choosing us, you support community projects empowering women and youth. Join us at Fab Hub Ashanti off Aful Junction, Abuabukesi, Kumasi. Fab Hub Ashanti, here we grow.
Hi, I am Alma Duncan, founder of the Fabulous Woman Network. Before 2015, I was that broke girl who was stuck in her own limiting belief of not enoughness. Marianne Williamson's words, "You are a child of God," woke me up. And then I sought help to work on myself. I still invest heavily in my personal development and so much has changed for me in the most incredible ways. My burning desire is to see an Africa in which women are empowered to thrive and impact people. I am a trainer, coach, author, social entrepreneur, and an event organizer who is passionate about helping others on their own personal development journey so that together we can all thrive as fabulous children of God. Mind Your Business is our weekly podcast which is free on YouTube. Here we share enriching content to help us all thrive as fabulous children of God. And if you prefer to work with me one-on-one, please go to my website amaduncan.com/store to book a discovery call with me. Welcome back to Mind Your Business. So this book was actually recommended by a dear friend, Franca Taylor, and I saw the title, read a bit about it and was like, this is the book for me. Before I talk about what I love about the book and the 3 lessons that I got from it, I want to read a bit about Greg McKeown, and I want to advise that if you can just check him out on his website. So he has written 2 New York Times bestsellers, Essentialism, that's the book we are looking at, and Essentialism is the disciplined pursuit of less, which has been voted by Goodreads as the #1 leadership and success book to read in a lifetime. And the second book is Effortless, Make It Easier to Do What Matters Most. So already I'm thinking, actually, after Essentialism, we have to go and read Effortless as well. And together, these 2 books have been published in 37 languages. McKeown is one of the most sought-after public speakers globally and has spoken to over 500 companies while traveling to more than 40 countries. His clients include Apple, Google, Microsoft, Nike, and now the Fabulous Woman community. I mean, if these trusted brands are trusting his work, then we know we can also pay attention. I'm going to share, if you see me looking down here, I'm just looking on my notes, and I have the book on my laptop and the notes on the iPad, and yeah. So I want to first of all talk about why I love this book, or what I love about this book. It reminds me of Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I discovered that book through, I believe it was a retreat we had with Yawa in Elmina. This was in 2018, and it really did change my life. I loved it, and ever since then, decluttering and simplifying not just my wardrobe but my life is something I have been pursuing. And if there's anything I can say for sure, it is that it takes time. It's a process. And so finding this book also adds on, for me personally, to what I have seen and I'm practicing, and hopefully will improve as I go. So you see, the thing is, the truth about me is I used to have a very, very cluttered home. Very, very cluttered. I remember one Sunday, someone was coming to visit, a family, like an important family elder was coming to visit, and this person came. Our home was like, I had laundry in the hall. At this time I had a baby, but that's not an excuse, you know, like, I used to have, sometimes I don't even want to think. And this is also the reason that sometimes I step into my kids' rooms. They are teenagers, so I step into their rooms and it's decluttered. It's really, really cluttered, and I can't complain much because I remember my own childhood and how messed up my room was, or our room as children. But yes, so I had a very cluttered home, but it wasn't just in my home. My life was also very, very cluttered with so many things, saying yes to so many different things, feeling overwhelmed, and sometimes dropping balls because I was trying to juggle too many things at the same time, trying to be a superwoman. Thank God for books like Marie Kondo's, and now this book, Essentialism, Taylor. God bless you, okay? I love this book. I haven't even finished reading it, but what I've read so far, I love it, and I'm going to be sharing with you. So basically, what is essentialism about? It is just a lifestyle. Did I say just? It's not really just. It's really an important lifestyle in which we keep the main thing the main thing. Remember that quote? Keep the main thing the main thing. And the objective is to have a continuously decluttered life. So it's not just one time you declutter and then things turn upside down again, but continuously putting systems in place so that your life is continuously decluttered as much as possible. Of course, there are seasons that things change and you will have to rework or readjust the way you are living so that it's decluttered. But I love the advice that this book offers, and I'm going to share 3 lessons from them. The 3 lessons, I'll read it quickly. Number 1, know, choose, and focus on your main thing. Number 2, ensure that hard work is not breaking your bones. And then number 3, prioritize a time of doing nothing. So let's dig into the 3 lessons. So for each of these lessons, I'll read just a bit from the book, and then I will talk about how that spoke to me or how I'm applying it. So lesson number 1 is know, choose, and focus on your main thing. So I'm going to read from page 49 of the book, which talks about the story of Southwestern Airlines. It's in the US. Just a bit of it says, rather than try to fly to every destination, they had deliberately chosen to offer only point-to-point flights. Instead of jacking up prices to cover the cost of meals, he, that is the CEO at the time, decided they would serve none, no food. Can you imagine? No food. Instead of assigning seats in advance, they would let people choose them as they got on the plane. Instead of upselling their passengers on glitzy first-class service, they offered only coach. These trade-offs weren't made by default, but by design. Each and every one was made as a part of a deliberate strategy to keep costs down. So for this airline, Southwest, what they wanted to do, they wanted to focus on cutting down on costs. And at this time, this was, I believe, in the 70s. And even as we see now, we have luxury, there's first class, there's food, and a lot of these junk food. Speaking of which, I'm about to travel and I'm thinking, God, when I come home, I do well to eat well, but then on these flights, I see all these sugar sometimes, and I can't resist, and all these foods, and I'm going to be sitting maybe 10 hours, sometimes longer, and I have to eat all this food. I really love that there's an airline that decides that, no, we are not serving meals. I'm sure I would choose that. That's just by the way. But anyway, I love that they decided to trade off certain things in favor or deliberately so that they can focus on their main thing. At this time for them, their main thing was cutting down on cost. And this got me thinking, sometimes you may make a decision, you decide that this is what I want, and you're so focused on it, and people keep telling you, but don't you know you can have this other thing? But you know what you want, right? You know what you want and you want to pursue it. But all these voices, sometimes the voices are not even external, they are even in your own head, telling you, no, but you could have this other thing. And then what you end up doing, you end up spreading yourself too thin when you could focus and really go far. There's a compelling picture on page 11 of this book, and I will describe it, and hopefully actually you can see it, where you have like a circle or a ball of energy moving in all different directions. That's one. That is one picture. And then in another picture, this circle of energy, there's just one arrow moving out of it, and it's going far. So you see that the circle where you have energy moving from all different parts of you, your energy is going, so much is going, but it's achieving very little. It's not deep, it's broad. You are spread too thin. But then where you are able to focus on only one thing, your priority, you see that you can go far, 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 far. Now, this is really, for me, thought-provoking. It makes me ask myself, what really matters? If I had only 1 year to live, if God told me, Amma, just 1 year, all these different projects I'm involved in, will I focus on all, or will I just narrow on that one assignment that I would really want God to say, well done, my good and faithful servant for? So I really like that this book, the first lesson, is reminding us to really choose what it is that is the main thing for us. Focus on it and do it, and let everything else go. There's a part of the book that talks about the fact that sometimes you feel like everything is important, and the fact that even this word priority used to be just one priority, but now we have priorities, but it was just one thing. So how come we've expanded priority to be a lot of priorities, really? So these are things that for me, it just clicks that, okay, think about it, pay attention. What can I do differently? How can I make it easier? How can I focus on the main thing and then let the others go, right? So this is lesson number 1. Let me read the lesson again. Know, choose, and focus on your main thing, like Southwestern Airlines did. The second lesson, ensure that hard work is not breaking your bones. I went to Archbishop Porter Girls Secondary School. Now it's senior high school in Takoradi. And we used to sing this, there was this song, I've forgotten the song, but in our anthem or something, I've forgotten. But it says, hard work does not break your bones. Now, I know that over the years, the meaning of hard work has sort of evolved. Now we talked about working smart, and smart working is more of what resonates with us, right? When we talk about not breaking your bones, hard work doesn't mean you should finish and be so knackered that you are dead or almost dead or in a coma, right? And the story in this book, that is actually taken from the book Animal Farm, explains this point well. So I'm going to read from page 42 of the book. In George Orwell's classic allegorical novel, Animal Farm, we are introduced to the fictional character Boxer the horse. He is described as faithful and strong. His answer to every setback and every problem is, I will work harder. He lives true to his philosophy under the direst circumstances until Exhausted and broken, he is sent to the Nakes yard. That's where they slaughter animals, right? He is a tragic figure. Despite his best intentions, his ever-increasing efforts actually exacerbate the inequality and problems on the farm. The key word here for me is ever-increasing effort. Means that we are doing more and more and more. But sometimes the more we are doing is not actually what we need to do. Sometimes we need to do less. But before we do the less, we have to determine what is it really that needs to be done. So we don't go around doing more, exerting so much energy, so much effort, and producing so little. And so for me, this really got me thinking, how can I make sure that, yes, I'm working hard, I'm doing multiple projects at the same time, sometimes in certain seasons. How can I make sure that I am not breaking my back physically, I am not hurting, or my health is not suffering in the process of doing God's work or, fulfilling the assignment? So this, for me, is a question worth asking. I don't want to be boxer. Do you want to be boxer? Keep working harder and harder until the time that you can't, you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, you are burnt out, and the company you are working in or your business can't really make the most of you. You become, excuse me to say, useless to them, and they have to let you go and find someone else. Or if it's your business, maybe the business, as I like to say in a joke, I think I heard this, your business collapse. Someone said your business will collapse. Is that really what you want? No, we don't want this. We want to keep going, but we need to decide what is the main thing. Let's exert that energy in that direction instead of being all over the place. The final lesson I want to share is prioritize a time of doing nothing. I love this, and I'm going to read a bit about it. There is a story shared about a gentleman called Frank O'Brien on page 60 and 61 of the book. I'm going to read it and I'll tell you my own story of something that happened. So this man, Frank O'Brien, is founder of Conversations. It's a big marketing services company in New York. It has made all these lists and it's a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So let's talk about him. Once a month, he gathers each employee of his 50-person company into a room for a full day. Phones are prohibited. Email is outlawed. There is no agenda. The purpose of the meeting is simply to escape, to think and talk. Mind you, he doesn't hold this meeting on the middle Friday of the month, when productivity might be sluggish and people aren't getting any real work done anyway. He holds this day-long meeting on the first Monday of the month. The practice isn't just an internal discipline either. Even his clients know not to expect a response on this do not call Monday. He does this because he knows his people can't figure out what is essential if they are constantly on call. They need space to figure out what really matters. He wrote, I think it's critical to set aside time to take a breath, look around and think. You need that level of clarity in order to innovate and grow. Furthermore, he uses the meeting as a litmus test to alert him if employees are spending too much time on the non-essential. If somebody can't make the meeting because of too much going on, that tells me either we are doing something inefficiently or we need to hire more people. If his people are too busy to think, then they are too busy. Period. So this was yesterday that I was preparing for this Mind Your Business. Last night, the light had gone off and we were just about to switch over. And then I was sitting on the couch. My husband was lying on one end of the couch. I was sitting, and then my son, he's the roaming ambassador, always walking and thinking. Out of the blue, this is what he says. I'm going to read it. Hey, mommy, don't you wish you could have a lot of time in the day to do virtually nothing? I was shocked. I asked him, Are you reading my notes or something? Because this is exactly what I am typing. Like, I'm talking about, a day that, blocking periods where you're not doing anything just to think. And it's actually also something I used to desire a lot. Thank God these days I try to make time for that, But then it was like his question was just so, I don't know, maybe it's coincidence, but I thought I'll bring it here. This is exactly the important thing we need to do. Have that day that we are doing nothing. Sometimes for me, it's not a full day. I wish it could be, but sometimes it's half a day of doing nothing. Not nothing as in sleeping. That was what I used to crave, just a day where I'll do nothing and sleep. But these days, it's a day where I just want to lie flat and think. Not even to talk, but really not have much to do. It's in this space of rest that sometimes the things that I'm thinking about, ideas come to me. For instance, currently the Fabulous Woman Network is planning for our 10th anniversary next year. I presented the ideas to the board and they thought, oh, we could do more. And I hadn't really had time to think about what we could do. We've had some ideas flying around, but I needed time to just pause and, as the leader, think, what would you really like to have happen? Because I was able to take some pause yesterday, ideas kept coming to me and I kept writing them down, because I was able to take that pause. And now, over the past few years, I have more than ever, seen the value of just having days of doing nothing. Some people would call it, oh, you're being lazy and all, but I know, and I think I once heard, was it Bill Gates does that? Mensa Otabil, the preacher leader of Central Gospel Church, does that, where he has no agenda, just lying down and thinking. I know the value of this to me, and I crave it. I crave it to the point that these days when I travel for work, before, I would be in a hurry to finish the work, finish the training, speaking, whatever, and hop on the plane or the bus or trotro or whatever, hurry back home. These days, I take my sweet time. That full day after the speaking engagement or the training, as much as possible, I would want to just rest, reflect, think. This is where ideas come to me. This is where I'm able to determine, this is what you did well. This is what you could improve on in the next speaking engagement or next training or whatever it is I'm doing. And it's of such value. But there was a point in my life that I was always running around, always move, because it's in my nature. I'm a very active person. And I would do things. My brother called it one time. He told me, I'm not doing deep work. I wasn't going in deep. I was spreading wide, but I wasn't going in depth because I wasn't having enough time to think through things, to look at different options and plan and choose. So I really loved this, and it spoke to me. And the fact that my son even asked the question, I don't know, maybe it was the Holy Spirit just really saying, Amma, you should pay attention. And I really should pay attention because I looked at my calendar for a certain month and I was surprised at the number of things I had said yes to. I was like, so where's my break time? When do I get to reflect? When do I get to rest, do things for me, enjoy my bubble bath, or read my favorite book, or just come and spend time in the office doing nothing, or watch Netflix or something, And so this was really an important reminder for me. Let me know if this is an important reminder for you as well. So the 3 lessons I have shared from reading this book, Essentialism. Number 1, know, choose, and focus on your main thing. Number 2, ensure that hard work is not breaking your bones. And number 3, prioritize a time of doing nothing. God willing, on Sunday, 29th September, that's just coming Sunday at 7 p.m. GMT, the Fabulous Woman community members, that is anyone who has registered to be part of our community. The link is in the bio. If you haven't, the link is in the caption. If you haven't registered, when you click on it, it will ask you to register. You will get the link to join us. Every quarter we meet, and one of the important things we do is to review a book. First, we network because we really want to connect on a deep level as much as possible, and then we will also review the book of the month. So I look forward to seeing you. Our community is open to all women. We love learning, we love sharing and growing together and supporting each other and collaborating. So I look forward to seeing you if you are available and willing and happy to learn with us. For those of you in the community, we've shared the book multiple times. We will continue to share it until we meet. Until then, I wish you all the very best. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful month of September. Remain fabulous. Ta!
Mind Your Business is one of our free resources available on YouTube. And if you prefer to work with me one-on-one as your coach, as a consultant, or as a trainer, it starts with a discovery call. Head to amadankan.com/store to book a discovery call with me.